Hello, students. Welcome back to your history class. I am Mrs. Jenny Shah, and today we are starting a new chapter, Paths to Modernization. This is chapter 7 of your textbook. Sorry, chapter 11 of your textbook. In this chapter, we will learn about Japan and China. East Asia, at the beginning of 19th century, it was dominated by China, the Qing dynasty, who was the heir to a long tradition. He seemed it seemed very secured in its power, and Japan was a small island country and it seemed to be locked in isolation. But within a few decades, China was thrown into a turmoil, unable to face the colonial challenge. The imperial government lost the political control and was unable to reform effectively, and now the country was convulsed by civil war. Japan, on the other hand, was successful in building a modern nation state, creating an industrial economy, and even establishing a colonial empire by incorporating Taiwan and Korea. It defeated China, the land that had been the source of its culture and ideals, in 1894, and it also defeated Russia, which was a European power, in 1905. The Chinese reacted slowly and faced immense difficulties as they sought to redefine their own traditions and cope up with the modern world so that they could rebuild their national strength and become free from Western and Japanese control. They found that they could achieve both objectives of removing inequalities and of rebuilding their own country with revolution. The Chinese Communist Party emerged victorious from the Civil War in 1949. However, by the end of 1970, Chinese leaders felt that the ideological system was retarding economic growth and development. This led to a wide range reforms of the economy that brought back capitalism and free market, even as the Communist Party retained political control. Japan became an advanced industrial nation, but its drive for empire led to war and defeat at the hands of the Anglo American forces. The US occupation marked the beginning of a more democratic political system, and Japan rebuilt its economy to emerge by the 1970s as a major economic power. The Japanese path to modernization was built on capitalist principles and took place within a world dominated by Western colonialism. Japanese expansion was justified by the call to resist Western domination and liberate Asia. The rapid development underlined the strength of tradition in Japanese institutions and society, their ability to learn, and their strength of nationalism. So, this is China, this is Japan. They are separated by the Sea of Japan, which is a part of the Pacific Ocean. China and Japan have had a long tradition of historical writings, as history was an important guide for the rulers. The past provided the standards by which they would be judged, and the rulers established official departments to maintain records and write dynasty histories. Sima Qian is considered the greatest historian of early China. In Japan, Chinese cultural influence led to history being given a similar importance. One of the earliest acts of the Meiji government was to establish a bureau to collect records and write as if it were a victor's version of the Meiji Restoration. There was great respect for the written word, and literary ability was highly valued. This meant that a wide range of written material, official histories, scholarly writings, popular literature, religious texts are available. Printing and publishing were important industries in the pre modern period, and it is possible to trace the distribution of books in 18th century China or Japan. Modern scholars have used these materials in new and different ways. China and Japan have a marked physical contrast. China is a vast continental country that spans many climatic zones. The core is dominated by three major river systems: the Yellow River, that is Huanghe, the Yangtze River, that is Changjiang, and Changjiang is also the third largest, longest river in the world, and the Pearl River. A large part of country is mountainous. These are the three river systems. Yangtze River or the Changjiang is the third longest river in the world. That is the Yangtze River. This is the Yellow River. And this is the Pearl River. The dominant ethnic group are the Han, and the major language is Chinese. But there are many other nationalities such as Uyghur, Hui, Manchu, and Tibetan. And aside from dialects such as Cantonese and Shanghainese, there are other minority languages spoken as well. Chinese food reflects the regional diversity with at least four distinct types. The best known is Southern or Cantonese cuisine, as most overseas Chinese come from the Canton area. This includes dim sum, which literally means touch your heart, an assortment of pastries and dumplings. In the north, wheat is the staple food, while Szechuan spices, brought by the Buddhist monks in the ancient period along the Silk Route, and chilies by Portuguese traders in the 15th century. These have created a fiery cuisine. In eastern China, both rice and wheat are eaten. Japan, by contrast, is a string of islands. It is the fourth largest, being Honshu, Kyushu, Shikoku, and Hokkaido. The Okinawan chain is the southernmost, about the same latitude as the Bahamas. More than 50% of the land area of the main island is mountainous, and Japan is situated in a very active earthquake prone zone. These geographical conditions have influenced, so these are the four largest islands of Japan: Honshu, Kyushu, Shikoku, and Hokkaido. More than 50% of the land area is of the main island is in the mountainous area. It is situated in a very active earthquake zone, and these geographical features influenced the architecture. The population is largely Japanese, but there are a small amount of minorities like Ainu minorities. and Koreans who were forcibly bought as laborers when Korea was a Japanese colony. Japan lacks a tradition of animal rearing. Rice is a staple crop, and fish is the major source of protein. Raw fish has now become a widely popular dish, that is sushi, around the world as it is considered very, very healthy. The political system of Japan. An emperor had ruled Japan from Kyoto, but by the 12th century, the imperial court lost power to shoguns, who ruled in the name of the emperor. From 1603 to 1867, the members of Tokugawa family held the position of shogun. The country was divided into over 250 domains under the rule of the lords called daimyo. The shogun exercised power over the dominal lords, ordering them to stay at the capital Edo, that is modern Tokyo, for long periods so that they would not pose a threat. He also controlled the major cities and mines. The samurai were the ruling elite and they served the shoguns and the daimyos. So there was an emperor. Below the emperor, there was shogun. Okay, basically, they were the members of the Tokugawa family and they held the position of shoguns. Okay, then uh, there was a rule of lords called the daimyo, and the shogun exercised the powers over the domanial lords. Okay, and they forced these domanial lords, that is, the daimyo people, to live at the capital Edo, that is modern Tokyo today. Okay, then the samurai, they were the warriors and they were the ruling elites and they served the shoguns as well as the daimyos. Then in the late 16th century, okay, so Tokugawa shogun, he is the military leader of Japan during the Middle Ages. It used to be a temporary title, but now it has become a permanent title. Okay, so Japan, that country was divided into 250 domains under the rules of the feudal lords called daimyo. The shogun exercised power over the domanial lords, ordering them to stay at the capital Edo for long periods so that they would not pose a threat to them. The shoguns also controlled all the major cities and the mines. This is one of the ancient maps. You can see the date 1572 of Japan. Tokugawa means to isolate. In the late 16th centuries, three changes laid the pattern for the future development. One, the peasantry was disarmed and only the samurai could now carry swords. This ensured peace and order, ending the frequent wars of the previous century. Number two, the daimyos were ordered to live in the capitals of their domains, each with a large degree of autonomy. And third, the land surveys identified owners and taxpayers and graded the land productivity to ensure a stable revenue system. Shogun made decisions to keep Japan isolated from the invaders. This is samurai. The samurais were the warrior class and they were the ruling elite and they served the shoguns and the daimyo. Okay, so this was a shogun who was a military leader and Samurais served the shoguns. In the late 16th century, three changes were made, and these three changes laid the pattern for the further development. Number one, the peasants were disarmed. That means now only samurais could carry swords, peasants could not. This was to ensure the peace and order which ended the frequent wars of the previous years. Then the daimyos now were ordered to live in the capital of their domain instead of living in all of them living in modern Tokyo. They were told, you'll go and live in the capital of your domain, and they were all given a large amount of autonomy. Thirdly, land surveys then identified owners and taxpayers, and they even graded the land productivity to ensure a stable revenue system. Japan had large cities like Edo, Osaka, and Kyoto, which led to the growth of a commercial economy and a vibrant culture. Increased use of money and creation of stock market led the economy in new ways. The daimyo's capitals became bigger, so by the mid 17th century, Japan not only had the most populous city in the world, Edo, but also two other large cities, Osaka and Kyoto. At least half a dozen castle towns with population over 50,000, contrasted by European countries at that time. The Europe only had one large city and Japan had three. This led to the growth of a commercial economy and created financial and credit systems. A person's merit began to be more valued than his status. A vibrant culture blossomed in the towns where the fast growing class of merchants patronized theater and arts. As people started to enjoy reading, it became possible for gifted writers to earn a living only by writing. In Edo, people could rent a book for a price of a bowl of noodles. This shows how popular reading had become and gives a glimpse into the scale of printing. So, the period witnessed some social and cultural changes, and Chinese influence was questioned, and the study of Japanese literature was promoted. Printing in those days was done with wooden blocks. The Japanese did not like the regularity of the European printing. Japan was considered rich because it imported luxury goods like silk from China and textiles from India. Paying for these imports with gold and silver strained the economy and led the Tokugawa to put restrictions on the exports of precious metals. They also took steps to develop the silk industry in Nishijin in Kyoto so as to reduce the amount of imports. So, Japan was considered a rich country because it used to import luxury goods, and for these goods, Japan used to pay by gold. This created a strain in the economy, and so Tokugawa started to put restrictions in the export of metals. Now they started to take steps to develop the silk industry in Nishijin in Kyoto so that they could reduce the import. The silk from Nishijin came to be known as the best in the world. Other developments, such as increased use of money and creation of a stock market in rice, show that the economy was developing in new ways. Now the silk became the best in the world. Social and intellectual changes, such as the study of ancient Japanese literature, led people to question the degree of Chinese influence and to argue that the essence of being Japanese could be found long before the contact of China. In an early classic like The Tale of Genji and in the midst of the origin, It is said that the islands were created by gods and the emperor was a descendant of the sun goddess. Nishijen is a quarter in Kyoto. In the 16th century, it had a weavers' guild of 31 households, and by the end of the 17th century, the community now numbered over 70,000 people. Sericulture spread, and it was encouraged by an order in 1713 that only domestic yarn was to be used. Nishijen specialized only in the most expensive products. Silk production helped the growth of a class of regional entrepreneurs who challenged the Tokugawa order, and when the foreign trade started in 1859, Japanese silk exports became a major source of profit for the economy struggling to compete with Western goods. So, this is how Japan became an industrial nation. Japan is a waterlogged country. It's an island, like you saw. They do not have a lot of resources, and still, it is one of the leading countries of the world. The history will definitely help us understand how to make our country more strong and also which mistakes we are repeating that they have already made. Talking about the Meiji Restoration. We'll do Meiji Restoration next time because I will not be able to complete it today. Your homework will be to open your textbooks and read the chapter right after Meiji Restoration on page number 235. Until then, stay home, stay safe, take care, keep learning. Thank you.